Boys, I am excited. I mean, how could I not be? Most of us knew that it's only a matter of time before this happens. And if you do not know what is happening, then let me give you the quick rundown of the situation. Because this is gonna be pure entertainment cinema. This is gonna go down in the history books, in fact, as probably the most deranged, delusional thing ever. Because we have upper, misinformed, malinformed, the king of bad takes, Echelon, trying to defend everyone's favorite pirate. But did you know that I worked in Blizzard for 7 years? It's never my fault, ego maniac software. And if you do not know, Upper Echelon used to be a pretty decent guy. But then he slowly started to go the wrong way, and his takes became pretty insane. I have actually quite a good history with him, and it's a pretty hilarious history. These are the only 3 videos that I have done about him in the past, and all of them have been extremely dreadful, I'm not gonna lie. In this video, he pretty much literally calls me specifically out. He doesn't mention my name, but every single detail that he's saying is somehow malinformed, misinformed, completely blatantly wrong, and he's calling out my opinions for being wrong. Assassin's Creed Shadows is gonna succeed. It's on its way to be big and shit, he says. Well, I say it's not, and now we know that Assassin's Creed Shadows is dead. Kingdom Come Deliverance! When everyone was talking about, is this game gonna be woke or not? He heroically came out and didn't even know what he was talking about. He was misrepresenting things that people were concerned about. He was grasping at straws and saying nothing useful. And the last one was him losing his mind over finances that he completely misunderstands. It is pure cinema, honestly, to watch the downfall of Upper Echelon games, especially after he literally pretty much calls me out. Should have used my name. I have nothing against that, okay? If someone tries it, I will be there, and I will be ready to push back. And now we have him protecting everyone's favorite pirate software. You can imagine how bad this is supposed to go. I have not seen this, but I have seen people talk about this, how absolutely delusional this is, and yet, again, how much exactly in Upper Echelon's sad current state of affairs his takes are. He doesn't really understand what's happening. He does not do his research, which is becoming a norm for him, honestly. And he obnoxiously thinks that he is right and everyone else doesn't understand anything. Let's see.
Okay, today is a little bit of a different video, but honestly, I just want to weigh in on something that's been percolating through the online world for a while now, recently coming to a head yet again with regards to a movement that I previously endorsed called Stop Killing Games, which makes me want to say my piece and give my opinion on an individual named Pirate Software, who kind of feels like the internet's current villain, I guess, across a pretty wide variety of communities. Just to get this out of the way, I don't
Rightfully so, also.
typically talk about drama. I focus on technology above all else, finance, video games, predatory practices, and
I wish he didn't do finance, honestly. Thankfully, he doesn't do it a lot, but typically it's painful.
sometimes politics. But for this one, instead of a whole investigation or a complicated breakdown, I want to try and give some insights on what I think is really happening with the pirate software situation and explain why nothing here actually matters because the internet mob will probably never get what they want. For anyone who's
Let me explain what I vaguely think is happening and why none of it matters, you cretin. What a start!
relatively unaware, even though news about this guy has been ping-ponging around various platforms like YouTube and Twitch, TikTok for like, I don't know, 6 months straight. Pirate Software is an ex-Blizzard employee turned streamer, and lately, he's kind of a lol cow. Lol cow, for those of you who don't follow sort of deep internet lore, lol cow is a Kiwi Farms term, which means someone who can be milked for laughs. Actually, it goes even further than that, widely used to refer to someone named Chris Chan initially. But Kiwi Farms
No, wait, is he? No, he's not the original, but yeah.
is probably the most widely recognized platform where it typically resides. It's basically someone who does stupid things, has ridiculous opinions, or gets easily goaded into various behaviors that other people find to be ridiculous, incorrect, or just plain cringeworthy. Examples of other streamers that are widely considered to be lol cows would be Darkside Phil, of course, also known as DS.
How dare you attack Phil? He is a saint. He will outlive everyone. Phil outlived. Well, he already has. He outlived Ninja. He outlived Pirate Software. He has survived every nuke on this planet already.
SP, Wings of Redemption, or even maybe Boogie 2988 more recently.
Maybe.
In all honesty, it's really not a pleasant thing. These people are ridiculed, insulted, and often degraded for entertainment purposes by tens of thousands of viewers. But if we're trying to make sense of the current situation,
Act like shit. Fling your shitty opinions around, assault other people. But you're the victim? Okay. Okay.
the pirate software situation that is, we have to understand that widespread mockery and ridicule is a core component of what's happening right now. Here's a lightning fast summary of how it all went bad for him, before I try to explain, in my opinion, why it will never end in the way that most people seem to want it to. Here goes. Back about 5 or 6 months, as of when this video gets made, Pirate Software was part of a classic WoW guild called OnlyFangs. The guild contained a pretty hefty number of large streamers, that was like the whole purpose of it, and as a result had millions upon millions upon millions of viewers for almost everything that they ever did. During the daily activities of the guild, Pirate Software ran into a situation where his group, or rather the group he was in, he wasn't the leader, made some mistakes. Being that the game is hardcore, if you die, there's no coming back on that character. You have to make a new one, which can take hundreds of hours. So after the mistakes were made, the group fractured and communication broke down. During the chaos, Pirate Software ran for his life and basically adopted a sort of every man for himself mentality, which didn't necessarily kill his teammates, but he probably could have helped save them.
I mean, it literally killed his teammates, okay? It literally did. If he did not decide to switch mouth breathing on, it would have been fine. What makes this even more hilarious is that not even 2 days ago he was talking about, man, I picked a mage so I can save people when shit goes down. That alone is pure cinema, honestly.
Basically, he just played super badly. Okay, that's it. Well, when you're talking about the hardcore online gaming communities, that's like the cardinal sin of group content. Okay, it's like the worst thing that you can do.
No, not really. Other people. Okay, see, this is already him going off the rails and he doesn't really understand what's happening. It's not. Other people have literally accidentally got other people killed in hardcore vow and all of these things, and no one gives a shit. Why? Because they say, sorry, my bad, maybe I'll try to make it up for you. And other people are reasonable and nice and kind and say, shit happens. But Softbed, though, was a little bit different, as we all know, because he's perfect.
Not to mention the fact that he purports to be extremely good at the game, which resulted in a tidal wave of criticism against him, on top of nicknames, everybody called him Roach, things like that, memes, and to be completely honest with you, whether or not you think it's deserved, harassment, okay? People harassed him a lot. Now, I never talked.
And the proof of that is, where exactly? Oh, Pirate Software banning people because they mentioned it? I mean, you doing something and then people talking about it is not exactly harassment, okay?
Talked about this back when it first happened because I could not possibly care any less. Some guy made a mistake in a video game and everyone dogpiled on against him. But the narrative that took shape, which is really stupid in my
This is such a disingenuous way of saying it. Oh, he did a mistake and then the world hated him for no reason. No, the world hated him for very obvious sociopathic behavior reasons.
opinion.
Actually, it's not sociopathic, it's egocentric, but whatever.
Because in a vacuum, the entire thing is completely unimportant. The narrative that took shape was that Pirate Software never takes accountability. People love that word.
Yeah, which we have proven like many times, from that situation where he refused responsibility and said he did everything right, from the situations in Ashes of Creation to the situations in EVE Online. It's very easy to do that. It's very easy to see that.
word. And that's the part that stuck. Over the next few months, his entire online existence got torn apart. People went back through his archives. They found out that he was almost certainly faking his playthrough runs for puzzle games, of all things. Look,
100% certainly faking them unless you think that he is a genius that can solve a puzzle that requires multiple people to beat and cannot be beaten solo. Or if you think that him being stuck on something for 30 minutes and then being like, wait a minute, what if we do something that he never even mentioned and then he just solves it instantly? It's blatant. We also covered that. It is blatant he cheated. It is the most blatant thing in fact ever.
looking up answers and then pretending to be oh so smart in front of the camera. People found out that he allegedly sent out DMCA strikes against an indie game that may or may
Allegedly, we know he did. He claimed he did. We saw the results. Yes, we know. And not only were there just they were false DMCA strikes because he could not have been asked to actually verify his claims.
not have actually deserved it for maybe using his voice, but
Why are you talking about these things and you're like, oh, maybe, maybe not? I don't know. Bro, what is this? What is you can look into these things, but you're already speaking in a way upper echelon that you are showing us that you have not even looked into them. You're just currently kind of assuming that he's just not guilty of these things. Why?
that's not really relevant for today. And something that realistically should have died off pretty quickly, that is the atmosphere of this is the popular person to hate right now. I mean, people should have moved on pretty fast. It sort of kept simmering down below beneath the surface. On a personal note, I think I do understand why that happened. Pirate
No, you don't.
software, for many people, is not a likable person. His mannerisms, his
No, because Pirate Software never let this go. That's the thing. He literally still can't let it go. He's still playing the victim card. That's why it never died down. Because he continues to put himself in these bad situations, clearly wrong positions of goddamn history at this point, and he still keeps pretending that he never did anything wrong. He is not letting this go.
cadence, especially his attitude, it's all frankly weird and repulsive. You know how sometimes when you meet someone, you can't necessarily explain why, but you just immediately, viscerally, and deeply dislike them? Yeah, a lot of people feel that way about pirate software. Myself kind of
I have never felt about anyone in my life like that. By the way, I don't know. That sounds super superficial.
included, which led to a sort of feedback loop where thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people who already disliked him previously felt vindicated by all of these discoveries, piling onto anything that they could see that would reinforce their pre existing opinions. It's a vicious cycle, and Pirate Software was fully immersed in it. But the reason I'm weighing in now, of all times, is because something else happened. I'll keep this part short. There's this movement in video games spearheaded by a channel called Accursed Farms and a creator named Ross, who is
Yes.
highly intelligent, and I honestly respect him a great deal. And the movement is all about
You know that Ross is by the way highly intelligent because he has that Tyler one Xeno type of head.
preservation of games. Lately, there's a problem where live service products can sometimes be taken offline completely, thus voiding the purchases that everyone made to begin with. And as an effort to fight against this, Ross led a pretty extensive campaign to actually try and get political representatives across the world to take notice and do something about it. Well, Pirate Software was an extremely vocal and bombastically pompous voice against that movement, right? There's
Yes.
stuff you can criticize about it, sure, but he was like one of the main critics trying to like rip it down and demean it. He came out with a couple of videos about how stupid it is, but he just blatantly misrepresented the actual goals. Here's a montage that
Wait. So Upper Echelon knows this, and yet he's kind of being like, "Oh, Pirate Software never did anything wrong." What the hell?
Ross put together of what that sort of looked
What?
like.
Oh
How?
shit, now this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit. It's shit. Not only
We
do I
have
not want to
seen
back
this
this,
so many
I'm gonna
times
actively
now.
tell
It's
people
still
not to.
funny.
That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. No,
Very
eat my
cool.
entire ass. The level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This shit
Damn.
sucks. That's a really stupid ass move. That's an incredibly stupid ass move. I think this is ass. This is complete garbage. All of this can eat shit then. I drop the
Damn.
mask entirely. I have no qualms about that. They can eat my entire ass. The whole thing. That sounds stupid as shit.
Yeah, if you combine that attitude while being completely wrong on the merits of the argument with the realization that he was more than likely faking his own accolades with regards to complicated puzzle games and refusing to shoulder any responsibility in hardcore.
Listen, honestly, Pirate Maldivius Fig 3 software. Cheating on a puzzle games is probably the least thing that people should be worried about. It's his borderline completely deranged, insane community that thinks like him that they're better than everyone else, which is actually a separate issue at this point. It is all the things that he has done previously, meeting with certain people underage and lying about it and blah blah blah. There's a bunch of things. I need to say alleged, but most likely you know that his history is extensively documented because of how many things he did. Okay? And then about the lies that he has spread. One of my favorites, personally, honestly, is his I'm not a Nepo baby story, which I haven't mentioned, but I'm gonna mention now. Is his Nepo and I'm not a Nepo baby story. Because you see, he worked at Blizzard for 7 years, while his dad was like literally one of the first 10 guys who made Blizzard into Blizzard, and he was the director of cinematics. So, you know, just by that, I'm sure there's no Nepo babyism here. And he had this great story that no one knew that Pirate Software was his dad's child, because, I mean, no one in the time span of 7 years put together that he has the same surname as this super high standing, well known individual in the company. Never seen. No one put that together, okay? And also, the fact that no one put that together while they went out and ate together sometimes, which by Pirate Software words is like the first time a father and son working in the same company decided to eat together was like 4 or 3 years in after he got the job. It is just the most hilarious bunch of goddamn fucking lies ever. And after that, when he got called out by his superior and saying you can't speak to people that high up, and the person high up said that's my son. No one still figured out that he's his son. Okay, listen. Okay, yeah, not a Nepo baby confirmed.
Or gaming communities, even when he objectively made mistakes. Hopefully everyone can see the perfect storm that happened. Pirate Software had rapidly become one of the most popular online personalities to hate on. This is the part where I have to step back though, because believe it or not, I actually have a very good idea of what he's going through. And I'm pretty sure that the end result of all this is an internet mob that will never get what they want, and thus can easily spiral out of control even further, which it kind of already has. I just hope it doesn't get worse. So here's where I'm coming from. Over the years, like 7 or 8 years of doing this at this point, there's been a number of different times where I published something that made people angry, okay? It's not exactly uncommon. I do that a lot. Typically, actually almost...
Is this the Japanese, Chinese, whatever game that Seth made a video about like a couple of years ago? I think it is, isn't it?
Almost exclusively, the people that get the most angry and the topics that cause the most anger are about video games, go figure. Gaming communities are on a hair trigger, and absolutely not in a positive way, about anything that they ever perceive to be even slightly disrespectful or negative towards them and their friends. Well, a couple of times where that happened, one...
Oh shit, basic human behavior. Man, imagine that. That's like insane, huh?
in particular comes to mind most of all, after I had given my opinion about something, whether it be drama or the quality of a product or the behavior of developers, whatever it happened to be. After I had given my opinion, other creators would chime in and do responses to that opinion. In one case, the responses that were done, there were a few, I think, but one in particular caused the bulk of the issue. The responses that were done went semi viral. One of them was like
Oh,
the most popular video that the content creator had ever posted on their channel, I think. And these responses, as well as the rhetoric that they used and the type of community that these creators had kind of deliberately cultivated for themselves, resulted in a completely ridiculous amount of harassment. I was getting
that that's I don't know what he's actually talking about here, but that sounds so disingenuous. He's effectively saying someone made a video responding to my opinions that were factually obviously right, and then he called me probably stupid for them, and then the world agreed with him for some reason, and I did not deserve the fallout for that. That's kind of what he's saying in layman's terms here, which is impossible. Okay, it's it doesn't happen, okay? These magical things as the world just magically turning against a single individual for no apparent reason whatsoever doesn't happen, okay? Either someone's lying about you, and then you can just set the record straight because if someone's lying about you, it's really easy to just prove them wrong. Asmongold, who refused to debate Hassan because Hassan is evil. Well, Hassan is evil. Hassan's a piece of shit. But that's besides the point, okay? Someone lying about you to your face literally doesn't matter because you can always correct them. You can if someone lies to my face about me, I can just humiliate them because I know they're lying. I know myself better, okay? So that's out of the question. That's not a real thing. And other than that, you can only be wrong, and you can only be so stupidly wrong that the world turns against you. Other than that, the world's never just gonna magically decide that you're its enemy. It doesn't happen. It's not a real thing.
thousands of messages wishing that I would get cancer, telling me to end myself, ridicule,
Damn.
insults. They even tried to find my phone number. It went beyond
Damn.
YouTube far as a platform. I started getting emails, Discord DMs, and basically over the course of like 3, maybe 4 weeks, it was just a never
Oh, I didn't even know about this. So that I guess explains why Upper Echelon is so adamant on trying to defend a piece of shit. Because he feels that in general that no one deserves that much of negativity and that kind of bad attention. I mean, he's technically right about that. Maybe it's nah, it's not too far when it goes to pirate software ever, is it now? That's probably not the opinion of most, but that's his opinion.
ending constant stream of people on the internet trying to straight up harass me into submission over critique about a video game. The people responsible for it will never
Which
admit that they're
video
garbage
game?
or that their fans are garbage for doing it, and that the whole thing was absurdly blown out of proportion for the sake of views alone. But that's also just an inescapable part of the online world. That's what happens when you come at things with an abrasive personality, which I did back then, even more so than today. And to be totally honest, I was just reaping what I sowed. And as big as it felt on my side, pirate software is going through something 10 times as long and 50 times larger than I
Oh,
ever
boo
experienced.
hoo.
Here's the part where I have insights, and also the part where I may genuinely offend some people, but it is what it is. That's kind of what this whole thing's about. Pretty much no one who watches YouTube without creating content for a large audience has any comprehension of what it's like to start getting thousands of direct messages and comments saying the exact same things over and over while insulting you. They have no idea the mental toll that something like that takes on a person. And they all think, from a solo individual perspective, that they're
Okay, okay. Listen, if you're gonna say something like that, that's technically fine, but you should not pronounce it in a way that says, I'm special, you're shit, you don't understand the situation I'm in because I'm a god. This is kind of the. What's his face? I forgot what's his name. The scientist dude who made a podcast. You know, he's Joe Rogan's friend. What was his name? And he's like, I need to use this power of podcasting for good and save the world. I am the only one who can do it. That guy. You in the comments probably know what I'm talking about. Do a timestamp and leave the name that I'm thinking about. Ah, it's pretty funny.
feedback matters or has value, but it doesn't. I know, I can already picture some people's faces turning beet red as they think, yes, it does. My opinion does matter, but no, it doesn't. And let me explain precisely why.
Damn.
Let's say you get 1,000 negative comments where pretty much all of them say the exact same thing. They cite the same exact quotes, the moments of the video, they use the same exact arguments, and they have a similar criticism about taking accountability. For each
Okay.
of those 1,000 people, it's the first and the only time that they said anything. To them, it's a reasonable comment that could have value, right? Because in a vacuum, it's the only one. But in reality, the creator reading those 1,000 comments reaches a point, even after probably a couple dozen of them, where they not only know what the next comment will likely say in some variation or another, they're already completely sick of it. Think about walking down the street and every single person that you pass says, your clothes are ugly, your clothes are ugly.
What? But that doesn't make them wrong. What do you mean? That doesn't make them wrong, though.
Over and over. What do you think happens after a couple of blocks? After the 100th time that you heard it, what about the 101st time? Does that 101st time have commensurate value? Does it make you think about something that you haven't already thought about 100 times over before it? The answer is resoundingly no. It is a worthless comment. The 700th person to say it gets tuned out completely, or you just get angry at them because you reach a point where the feedback has been.
Wait, how is that their fault, though? What? Why are you blaming other people for being right? What the? What? What kind? This is. I'm so confused. How is the steak supposed to be good? They're right, but I don't care that they're right. Is that the point of this, bruh? What?
Given, it has been heard, and everything after that point in time is useless.
What do you fucking think? They're gonna read through all the comments that's no. Oh, why are you demanding special treatment here? This is literally like special treatment demanding.
Repetitive dogpiling trash. Viewers on social media have this blissfully mistaken assumption that what they say matters intrinsically, but that's not true. What matters is unique feedback. If you want to criticize, that's fine, but you have to do it in a way that provokes thought or provides insight of some kind. Because if it blends in with a fire hose of negative bullshit that's identical to everything that they've been hearing for weeks, indistinguishable from everything around it, a creator's.
Oh, so you're right, but you're wrong for saying it? Is that the takeaway here? That's a fucking stupid takeaway.
Mind lumps it all together and throws it all out the window. But that's actually one of the better scenarios. There was just a situation like days ago, like 2 days ago, where a 29-year-old wildlife sanctuary YouTuber took her own life in large part because of the online harassment from a
Oh yeah, I heard something about this. But this story is not as straightforward as she was harassed. I didn't look into this, but people were saying, "Oh no, this is not just that. Okay, there's a lot more to it."
where people assumed that their critical feedback somehow mattered or should be heard. They don't think about the fact that being the
Bro, you're putting yourself on the internet. Anyone now can say that they disagree with what I say. Anyone can call me whatever that they want in the comments. It is what it is. Okay? You chose to be on the internet, and now you're demanding complete immunity from the backlash? No, you don't get complete immunity. You don't get immunity of any kind. Say a shitty opinion, someone's gonna say something against you. If you don't want to see the comments, just turn off your comment section, dude. You have the right, you have the ability to turn off the comment section. If the comment section is such a problem, fucking turn it off. Okay? Delete your social medias and all of this. If you want to live in your small bubble, but you can pretend that you're constantly right and you're never wrong, do that. Okay? Don't be on the internet. Why do I need to do something different for you? Just to make you feel good. What? How about me? Never ever thought about me? Maybe I need to call you. Maybe I need to write that negative comment. Otherwise, I'm gonna Minecraft myself. How about that? How about that? Not gonna do it, obviously, but still.
600th person to say you suck at life, you shouldn't be doing what you love to do, or all of these things can permanently damage someone's mind. And when we're talking about someone who gets subjected to hundreds or thousands of people degrading or demeaning them on a daily basis, not everyone can handle that. This is the important part, okay? There comes a point in time, what precise number I honestly don't know, but it's smaller than you would probably think, where the dynamic of comments or messages and feedback stops being human to human, if it's all overwhelmingly negative, that is, and it starts becoming human to mob. When that transition happens, speaking from experience here, by the way, there's a variety of outcomes. One, probably the most common, is depression, sinking into a feeling of worthlessness, which happens to a lot of creators in that situation. Hopefully, they recover with time, they take a break, who knows. But for me, and I also highly, highly suspect that this is true for pirate software as well, for me, it was stubbornness. After that transition takes place, when it's now you versus the internet mob, not humans to humans, all saying the same shit over and over, by the way. The mob is just like screaming the same things repeatedly, each thinking that because they said it, now you should listen to them. Once that happens, you grit your teeth and you don't give them a single thing that they're demanding. As soon as it's a mob screaming for you to grovel before them and apologize, at least for me, again, I'm like 99% sure this is exactly what's happening with pirate software too. As soon as it's a mob, they're not getting what they want. It doesn't matter if you were wrong, and me.
No, the reason why Pirate Software is not apologizing because he's an eglomaniac. That's pretty much it. He can't apologize. He will never accept personal responsibility, and he will never accept that he was wrong. What do you mean?
Me personally, I certainly was wrong, at least in one of my most notable situations like this, the biggest one, back a number of years. But it doesn't matter anymore if you're right or wrong, because the mob doesn't deserve the satisfaction. In my case, I had thousands upon thousands of people screaming at me to take.
Again, the snake just becomes more stupid and deranged. Now he's saying, oh, you know what? They were right. These people who said I did bad, they were right, but they now do not deserve the satisfaction of being right. So I'm gonna make things even worse for myself now, and they're still responsible for my own actions? All of this just sounds like maybe he is related to Pirate Software. Who knows? Maybe he goes to the same footy conventions as him. But this sounds like a lower class take on self responsibility than Pirate Software.
A video down, so I left it up. I had people yelling at me to apologize, so I ignored them on purpose. I had people telling me what to do or how to act or what to say or how to respond, so I did the precise opposite wherever possible and
How is
denied
that
the mob
their
any chance it
fault?
had of ever claiming victory, even a shred, in any capacity whatsoever. My version of surviving what felt like a never ending stream of filth directed my way, or winning against it, I guess, was to make sure that these people got absolutely nothing in return that they
Yeah, this is just a pity party, huh?
wanted. And it worked. Eventually, they gave up. They had no impact on me. They got no concessions. They received no apologies. They got literally nothing. And while I'm certainly not going to sit here and say it's the best way to respond in a crisis, no one watching a YouTube video actually knows how they would respond in that same crisis until it happens. And most people have not gone through this. I see that same exact
Oh, you're so unique, dude. Aw, bless you for being such a paragon of uniqueness, goddammit.
response right now from Pirate Software, but it's happening on a scale that I couldn't even dream of. His defense mechanism, after the shift has taken place, where it's now a ridiculously large internet mob all against him individually every second of every day, whether deserved, undeserved, right or wrong, it doesn't matter anymore.
100% deserved. We all know this.
His defense mechanism is I will not cave to this mob, which, unfortunately, results in one of the largest torch and pitchfork style internet hate brigades that I've ever personally witnessed. On the bright side, if I'm correct here in the interpretation that he has a similar fight or flight style response compared to my own, if I'm correct here, then he will properly understand deep down inside secretly that he was objectively wrong about the Stop Killing Games initiative. In a year or 2 or 5 years, he may even come out publicly and say it. I was wrong, or admit it, who knows. While in the meantime,
What a fucking this is just this sounds like pure goddamn delusion. I ain't gonna lie, this whole video has been literally nothing but goddamn delusion.
though, adjusting his content behind the scenes in a way that incorporates the lessons learned from this debacle silently. However, short term, the rabid mob of internet viewers hell-bent on shaming him and publicly forcing an apology or a retraction
No one's even forcing an apology or a retraction at this point. It's completely no one cares even about that.
or I don't even know what they want at this point. It feels like they just want him to have a breakdown. I don't think they know what they want either. It's just popular to hate him. But if I'm right about this, they'll get nothing. And to a degree,
And
actually kind of
we're getting everything constantly. Again, Pirate Software cannot let this go. All of this would have already been so long behind him, but he just cannot let his go. His frail, shitty, massive ego cannot allow this.
support that. I don't think the mob typically deserves to win. At the end of the day, Pirate Software was objectively wrong in his critique of Stop Killing Games. Like, just on a factual basis, he got a whole bunch of things wrong. But that overly confident criticism just so happened to coincide with an atmosphere shift where hating Pirate Software is the trendy thing to be doing. As a result, millions upon millions of people have now seen his content under the worst contextual circumstances possible for him, which leaves him with an immutably stubborn response to a brute force-minded internet mob which continues to linger.
Wait, this is a little bit different though. Like, boys, is this? Did he edit the video? Because we only have like 3 minutes left, and yeah, I heard that he talks about Pirate Software. He gives reasons like why Pirate Software is not wrong about the things, more of the stuff that at the start that he had absolutely no idea about, and he said, "Oh, he's innocent," just randomly. Or well, he said that in the context of, "Oh, he's innocent. None of this matters."
Possibly even grow larger month after month, constantly circling back stronger after each new skirmish with them. I don't even know if there is a valid way out of it for him at this point. If he did issue like a thoughtful response and apologize to everyone, it would take a monumental shift in coverage from a slew of creators all simultaneously to even make a dent in the current narrative. But the final message that I have for anyone who watches this video is that none of you actually know what it's like to go through that.
Oh no!
I don't either, to be honest. Not at that scale, okay? That's like a whole different thing.
Oh no!
The little bit that I went through was already bad enough. But even the situation that I dealt with came down to personal resilience in the face of literally thousands of people.
What a hero. He was wrong. He didn't accept being wrong. And he took no responsibility, and he wanted to prove the people that were right that he doesn't care. What a hero. I mean, someone build a monument for him at this point.
Who wanted nothing more than to just watch me suffer. Thinly disguised, by the way.
I mean, I don't know. Again, I have no actual idea what he's talking about, but just hearing this makes me wish that I saw it. Because this is just so fucking self-serving, self-grandizing, literally everything self at this point, pretty much.
Under the claim of just providing feedback or just some criticism. Like, no, they just wanted to watch me suffer. And the same thing is happening to him. Okay, it's abundantly clear.
Damn.
Which leads me to the understanding that while Pirate Software is today's internet villain for a multitude of reasons, some of them definitely valid, and it's extremely satisfying to have a collective villain, not to mention lucrative for many creators. I mean, the ad revenue is huge for a lot of people. He's also a person, and far from the likes of BitBoy or litigation trolls or previous contenders for internet villain before him, of which there were many, he hasn't really harmed people, has he?
Oh,
No,
no. But he has. He has. Pirate Software, dude, the guy who got the DSCA claim on his game. Do you think that did not impact his sales negatively? Do you think that did not impact his life negatively? If a lawyer did not go pro bono for the guy, he would probably have been fucked, because what the hell is he supposed to do? All because Pirate Software decided to randomly, because he fucking felt like it, pretty much, just copyright abuse the guy. What about the people that that Pirate Software reported when his roach out happened? He literally sent thousands upon names to Blizzard privately, his people he knew, so they can get banned. And how did he find these people that were bad? Well, he just fucking searched for a key phrase, and it doesn't matter what the context is. He just sent it out to Blizzard. Pirate Software is very fucking actively harming people and lying about it and all of those things. And you're saying he's not? Jesus.
The honest answer is no. He doesn't harm people. They just don't like him, which I do think makes a difference in how the situation should be treated. That's it. Do not contribute to the harassment that he's receiving, because no variation of anything that any of us could ever possibly say to him or about him in some lame attempt at force.
Goddamn. Yeah, listen to him. He fucking found world peace, boys. It is what it is. Anyway, that was Upper Insane Echelon. It's wow. This is going right there in the playlist, boys. Yeah, we should make goddamn Pirates, if not Pirate Software, but an Upper Echelon playlist soon, because it is going. Pretty fun stuff. I need to find out what the hell was, I need to really find what the hell was the thing that people attacked him for. I have no idea. Or maybe he's blowing it out of proportion, because clearly we have some ego issues here going on. Well, anyway, bye-bye.